Hey guys, Levi and Andy here with Grendel Hunter. And this video is part one of a three-part series where we're going to be testing out two different varmint bullets in two different calibers. We're going to be testing them at 100, 200, and 300 yards into ballistic gel.
Now we got the 75 grain VMAX and the 6mm ARC, the 95 grain VMAX and the 6.5 Grendel. We also have the 80 grain ELD-VT and that 6mm, and the 100 grain ELD-VT and the Grendel. Now they're all going to be shot out at 22-inch barrels, so let's get into it. All right, starting out, we got the 95 grain VMAX, 22-inch 6.5 Grendel.
Well, we kept her in the first block, like we were hoping to. Now we can have a clean shot with our 6mm and get a nice comparison on them.
Yeah, I don't think the 6mm is going to penetrate it. If anything, I think it'll fragment a little more.
Yeah.
But yeah, just as we thought. What did it make it? Maybe 14.5 inches. Started to grenade right away. What's that? Inch and a half in?
Yeah, at most.
Boom.
Huge wound cavity.
Huge.
Fragments everywhere in there too.
Yeah.
It's hard to see it in the block, but when we pull it out, you can see there's still some lead left with that jacket there. Looks like most of it was shed along the way though.
Yeah, we'll see what it has for weight retention. Not that weight retention is super important to us with a VMAX.
No.
We kind of want it to shed weight. You get that 6-inch area from 2 to 8 inches where it just dumped all its energy. Most of the fragmenting was happening there, right inside the chest cavity where you want it. I mean, it did what a VMAX is supposed to do.
Yep.
No real surprise, but it's a good starting point. We'll get some comparisons from here. All right, next up, we got the 75 grain VMAX out of the 22-inch 6mm ARC. Well, what a contrast.
Really shows what a little bit more speed and a little less weight will do.
So we're 20 grains lighter with the 6mm, but about 200 feet per second faster.
Hopefully you can see it on the camera, but that 6mm grenaded more. Now, you don't see that as much tearing. You don't see that big wound cavity or as big there with you see with the Grendel, but there's a lot more tiny fragments that came off, and it penetrated 3 inches less.
It's hard to pick it up with the camera, but it's also quite a bit wider of a spread with those fragments versus the 6.5. But the thing just exploded instantly.
Yeah, there's a lot of tiny lead fragments, like the size of what you'd have in a shotgun with birdshot or smaller. A lot of them are even quite a bit smaller, but they just go all over the place in there.
Yeah.
There's not much left of the bullet out there at 11 inches either. I don't think either one has a problem of over penetrating. That's something I'm curious to see with that ELD varmint. Is it going to fragment as well? Is it going to over penetrate a little bit more? Kick us off, Levi.
All right, so here we got the 100 grain ELD-VT out of the 6.5 Grendel, and comparing it to the 95 grain VMAX, the big thing that sticks out right away to me is just it goes in 4 inches before opening versus the inch and a half with that VMAX.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because both these bullets, the VMAX and the ELD-VT, have the same velocity here at 100 yards.
But yeah, that VMAX, you know, I started to fragment open right away. This one took a minute to get going. Once it did get going, it expends some energy in that first block. 7-8 inches, you see the copper fragments that came off. Leaves a good wound channel. And then after that wound channel, about 14 inches, most of the copper jacket is there. And the lead slug made it out to, I don't know, about 18 inches, I guess.
Definitely a lot less fragmenting with this.
Yeah.
Than you had with the VMAX.
It reminds me a little bit of like the SST with the jacket separation. I almost think the SST had a little bit more fragmenting when we've shot it into gel in the past.
Yeah.
More lead and copper. But I also think that SST penetrated deeper.
Yeah.
All right, let's get these blocks flipped around and try the 80 grain 6mm ELD-VT. Well, there we go. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a lot closer to what you'd expect, what I expected to see out of this.
Yeah, it started to open up right away. And there's a lot of fragments. Hopefully the camera is getting them all. But there's little bits of lead and copper all around that wound cavity.
Yeah, a ton of fragments. I mean, that thing grenaded in there. And there's also fragments all the way down almost to the bottom of the block and then spreading out to almost making out of the top of the block. So you got about a 4.5 inch, 5 inch spread on some of those fragments.
Nice.
13 inches of penetration, but that wound cavity, I mean, that goes from 1.5 inches to about 9 inches or so, and then just shuts right down.
So comparing it to the Grendel, the cavities are not too terribly different. I guess the Grendel is maybe 1 inch longer, but it doesn't start as soon. And
the 6 mil is also a little bit wider.
Yeah. Some of those fragments coming off definitely give it that.
It is an interesting comparison here because the Grendel is about 220 feet per second slower, but it does have 75 foot-pounds more energy than the 6 mil here.
Now, comparing the 6mm ELD-VT with that 75 grain VMAX out of the 6 mil, you know, both of these bullets were going just a tick over 2,700 feet per second here at 100 yards. They're almost identical in velocity.
It'll be really interesting to see what these bullets do at 200 and 300 yards.
Right.
And when you change that velocity, how much an effect that'll have on each bullet type.
Yeah, when we move these blocks to 200 yards and shoot the exact same bullets, that should be interesting. Well, Levi, that was fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool that both Grendel bullets were about the same speed at 100, and both 6 mil bullets too, about the same speed at 100. We're not going to see that at 200 yards, but it'll still be interesting.
Yeah. If you guys want to see parts 2 and 3 where we test these out at 200 and 300 yards, make sure to subscribe. And also check out our channel for more content like this, and we'll see you on the next one.